Hello everyone. I'm so excited to be going live with you today. I am going live with one of my favorite humans. You're going to meet Lisa in just a few minutes. Okay, let's get her in. Hi, Lisa. I see you there. If you want to just request to join. Okay, here we go.
Here. Let's see if the internet wants to work for us today too. Hello!
Hi.
It's working.
That was so easy. I've never done a live before.
Welcome to your first live. I'm sure you'll be doing many more of them as a way to talk about your business in the future. I'm so happy to get you to take your live virginity.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so didn't even really give a chance to introduce you yet. So let's just jump in. Lise, do you want to just tell everybody who's listening who you are? And then I'm going to ask you some questions about your story and, of course, about Thoughtfully Fueled. But yeah, tell us who you are.
So, like Emily said, I'm Lisa. I'm a registered dietitian and a personal trainer who has recently made a massive career change. I was thinking about this, but like since I've known Emily, it's been maybe 6 months or so. And I've quit 2 jobs in that process, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But really, it was just not aligning with my purpose, what I wanted to be doing, the people I wanted to be helping. And now I'm in such a better space to provide services that feel like they're actually, from the heart. So yeah.
Yay. Okay, well, I can't wait for you to share your story. So, actually, even in the title, I wrote Lisa's story, how finding purpose, quitting multiple jobs actually led her to starting her business. You've had quite a few months. So, okay, take us back to like the beginning, but really just right before you and I met, where were you? What was going on? What were you feeling? Tell us about your job at the time. To sort of bring us back to sort of 6 months ago.
Yes. So that was kind of like the beginning of the pandemic. I had been furloughed, which, I was on unemployment at the age of 27, like something I did not think was going to happen at all in my life. And it gave me a lot of time to kind of think of where I wanted to go. Was this something that I wanted to do? Because up until that time, it had kind of just been like one step after the next, after the next. And it had been very well planned out, school to different trainings to getting a job. So it was very planned. And this was the first time that I really like stopped and even thought about it. So my job was what I thought at the time, the perfect kind of best of both worlds, I guess you could say. I was working in a fitness setting, so I was able to do some sports nutrition. I was able to do some training. I was like, this is great. And then that time being furloughed was like, maybe it's really not what I want. And that furlough time, I was like, yeah, it's not giving me what I need. So I quit that job, got a new job very quickly, which I was super thankful for. And I thought it would give me a little bit more freedom. I kind of had the ideas of Thoughtfully Fueled kind of in my head, but hadn't acted on it yet. But I was like, oh, this will give me the time, the freedom to take that next step. That job, that second job, was so out of alignment, even more so than my first one, that I was just having like body aches and like these severe reactions to getting up and going to work. And I'd never been that person who was like, had to drag themselves or convince themselves to get up and do the thing that they said they liked to do. So I worked that job for about 3 months, put in my 2 weeks, which really ended up being more like my final month. But anyway, and it was like this wave of emotion of like, holy crap, I just quit my job and like, this is what I need to do. So during that time, during that second job, I was going through Path to Purpose. And that's when it all kind of just like came into fruition.
So tell us a little bit about, okay, so I think one thing that's really interesting is the first job that we talked about, the 6 months ago one, it was like fine,
Yeah.
right? You like knew it wasn't going to be the forever job though.
Yes.
But there was no real like reason to leave it at that point because you weren't like crying on the floor miserable every single day.
No,
So you
not
get
at all.
furloughed. right? So it's sort of like this universal nudge to just be like, okay, Lisa, this isn't it, right? And you finally sort of had this space and time to really reflect on that job and realize, like, you know what, this really isn't for me. So then started asking, okay, well, then what is? So I want to get a little bit more specific about Path to Purpose. Actually, let's just start high level and then I'll ask you some specifics. How do you feel like Path to Purpose supported you on that journey?
Well, like I said, Path to Purpose was kind of like while I was furloughed and then while I started that second job, like it was smack dab in the middle of that transition, which was super helpful because I was with other, our cohort was all females, but I was with all other females who were going through like some transition at the time, whether it be, you know, a move or they lost their jobs or they were switching jobs. And I think our group was really unique. Where like two of us quit our jobs during the cohort. But it was just such a good support system to know that I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one who, like you said, I wasn't crying on the floor, hating my job, but I just knew that it wasn't where I wanted to be long term. And kind of taking that thought that this isn't my forever job and acting on it was like all the emotions in one, terrifying, exciting, all of that. But just having that group of people who were going through it made such a difference because I had a group where I could lean on them for support, ask them questions. It was a total game changer.
Okay, so to go a little bit more specific, I know for you there was a lot of healing that happened during Path to Purpose. And Path to Purpose, for anybody who's listening, the course is really designed to help you build a career that you love, right? But ultimately, a lot of times, as Lisa knows, like we sort of have some healing that we need to do to really give ourselves, to really be able to trust ourselves enough to go after our dreams, right? To like go actually like get the new job or start the business.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like the healing pieces of Path to Purpose helped you get to where you are now?
That was like, again, such a big thing. The biggest one being like identifying our limiting beliefs. That was just like taking those things that subconsciously scare you and like writing them down and making them real was, I mean, it's a process to go through, don't get me wrong, but it's so important. And it makes you realize these things that are holding you back are things that you probably made up yourself, or like someone somewhere told you this years ago, and it's just been so stuck in your mind, and it's totally been affecting how you go through your life, what jobs you take, what risks you take. So just doing that, and that in itself, like identifying those beliefs, working through them, that's such a healing process because you feel so empowered and like you could do anything once you realize that these limiting beliefs are kind of just like little voices that you're giving way too much recognition to, I guess.
That's amazing. Okay, so tell us a little bit about, and again, we're going to get into exactly what Thoughtfully Fueled is and how everybody can really just start to work with you. But tell me a little bit about how, actually, let's just name the transformation. And a few words, like where were you before the program and where were you after the program?
Yeah. Before, like you were saying, I wasn't miserable. Like I was content. I was, had a good job. I definitely don't think I was as confident in myself or my abilities. I was kind of playing it safe, like going through those motions that had been mapped out for me, and knowing that I could do more, but like not really acting on it. And then after, total mindset switch, like clearly, I mean, I quit 2 jobs, like without having a clear path or like next step, where now I can just know like I can do this, and knowing what my purpose is and like really honing in on what I want to do, what I want to provide, how I want to do it, just makes this so much easier. And it gives you confidence, it gives you clarity, it gives you, you feel like a badass. Sorry for swearing.
You can swear, I swear all the time. And you are a badass.
Be the first one.
It's okay, you broke it. Now we both can swear. That's awesome. Okay. Okay, so probably the last question before we switch over and talk about Thoughtfully Fueled. Tell me a little bit about, you were in transition, you'd gotten furloughed, you took a job, quit a job, and you were paying a lot of money to be right in Path to Purpose. How did you decide to make that investment in yourself? And for somebody who's considering making that same type of investment and feels like maybe they've never spent that amount of money on themselves, or maybe they're like, I'm in transition, I got laid off, how would I like spend that money, right? I need to save, save, save. What would you say to that person?
Just do it. Like, if you can figure it out, like whatever you have to do, payment plans, put it on a credit card, like do it, because investing in yourself is so worth it. It's something, I mean, I invested in my mental health with you. I invested in just like my overall well-being with you. You can look at that in so many different aspects. If it's having a personal trainer, having a dietitian, having, going to get a massage, like whatever your thing is, do it, because it's going to make you feel so much better in the long run. And you're just going to be a better person. You're going to be more like your truer self if you take that initial jump and make the investment.
Do you feel like there is something also about being in transition, being furloughed, that like maybe give you some extra space to actually do this type of work?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had nothing else to do. So I had, a lot of time, which I think was good, because it's not easy work. And for anyone who's like considering Path to Purpose, like it is a lot of work. Emily gives you homework. She gives you meditations. Like there's all the things that you can do. And being type A, like I am, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get my homework done. Like I remember coming and being like, I didn't do my homework. And it's a lot of stuff to like take in. But if you have a little bit of time, or if you're willing to just like carve out that extra time throughout the week, I'm not talking like hours on end, but you carve out that little time, maybe turn off Netflix a little bit early and take that time for you, is so, so important. And I know a lot of people are going through like awkward transition times right now, as many of us would call them. But it's so beneficial to be able to like take that time that you are given, whether you wanted it or not, and make something so great out of it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so you started a business, sister. Tell us all about Thoughtfully Fueled, and I'll ask you a few really specific questions so that anybody who's watching knows if they're the right fit to become one of your clients. So tell us about Thoughtfully Fueled.
Yes. So I created Thoughtfully Fueled in October. So it's still like a little baby business, but my website actually goes live tomorrow. So this is like perfect timing. But it is an online virtual private practice. So what I do, which is a little different than other dietitians, is I really focus on intuitive eating. So finding the why, the reasons behind why we eat the foods that we eat, or why we have these thoughts around body image, movement, foods, like all these things, kind of like that bigger scope of health and wellness. We really dive deep into that, but I cater towards active individuals, mainly females, because we tend to see, body image, disordered eating habits a little bit more in females. But I will work with males, not opposed to that. I have in the past. But really taking both of my love of sports nutrition and, just movement, physical activity, and putting them together is kind of how Thoughtfully Fueled was born.
And what does it look like for one of your clients to work with you? Is it a one-on-one program? Do they work with you for a certain amount of weeks? Give us some details.
Yeah. So right now it's all one-on-one. I would love to get to the spot where I'm doing either group coaching or even having like programs that they can do on their own. But right now it's all one-on-one. I usually work with clients for a minimum of 3 months. That just kind of gives us enough time to really dive deep into some of those relationships with food, movement, your body, and make changes along the way and see what works for you, because everyone is so different. So when I say most clients, some clients I work with for 3 months, some clients I've been working with for over a year. It just depends on the path that you're taking to get to that, end goal. And some people don't even have an end goal. So everyone's journey is so different. But right now, all one-on-one virtual.
Any particular like results or transformations that you've seen from clients that you want to share?
Yeah, I think the biggest one that I see and the one that makes me kind of like the happiest is when people just feel confident around food and comfortable in their bodies. I've had so many clients, who avoid social interactions or gatherings because they don't feel comfortable being around food in a social setting. They're nervous. They're constantly thinking, what do I eat? What can I eat? What should I eat? Instead of just, enjoying the company of the others that are there. So that's a huge one. And then being confident and comfortable in your body, that is like a game changer. Not constantly like fidgeting or being self-conscious, just like owning the body that you have and being super respectful towards everything that it does for you. Total change to the way that you live your life.
I don't know if pause this whole thing or if it was just for me. Okay, tell us a little bit about like your personal like story and like how you got like why is this the business that you decided to create?
Yes. So really it's because, growing up, I always struggled with body image issues, confidence issues, and everyone kind of plays that off as like, oh, teenage girls, so typical. But like mine was to the next level. Very disordered eating habits, choosing to do a workout rather than hanging out with my friends. Like it was just getting to a point where I was enough was enough. And I don't know if that like influenced why I went into nutrition. A lot of people say that it does, but I definitely think it gives me a little insight and background. And then working in the fitness industry, like I said, I have that love for movement. I love seeing like what the body can do and how we can change, the movements that are done. But I realized that diet culture and fitness culture are one of the same. You call it healthy eating or clean eating, even like macro counting, but it's all diet culture. It's all a trick or something to lose weight. And I couldn't write another low calorie meal plan. I couldn't, have someone complain to me about getting their body percentage down less than a point. It's not a way that I wanted my clients to live their life. So I kind of took both of those experiences and said, I don't want anyone else to deal with this. I dealt with it personally. I've seen clients deal with it enough. And that's kind of where my original idea for Thoughtfully Fueled came.
How do you feel like intuition? I mean, obviously, we talk a lot about intuition and path to purpose. And now you specifically, like the main piece of your program is intuitive eating. And I know you use your intuition a lot within your own business. So can you just talk a little bit about like the role of intuition in your life, in your business, in sort of with your clients?
Yeah. So I think the first little like spark of intuition that I really listened to was like joining Path to Purpose. That was like that weird little nudge where I didn't know it was coming from. I wasn't exactly sure who was talking to me, what was talking to me, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like universe is telling me to. So I did it. And then during Path to Purpose, you just get so in tune with your intuition. You're able to listen to it, know when it's talking to you, kind of recognize when it's speaking to you. I know you always say like books talk to you and like certain objects talk to you. I was having the same thing, but like with my experiences, my interactions with people, like someone would say something rooted in diet culture that wouldn't bother me, where now I was just like so offended that they would even say something like that. So that was kind of, again, like cue number 2. And then when I started my own business and was looking for like, what's my niche going to be? What is going to be the ground level of my business? That just, again, kept like nudging me. And like, I found my intuitive eating book and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. So Path to Purpose was definitely like the spark that just like lit this fire of a business.
Oh, I love it so much, Lise. Okay, well, how can people learn more? How can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, so at Thoughtfully Fueled on all social media platforms. Like I said, my website does go live tomorrow, which is Friday, November 20th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And it's just www.thoughtfullyfueled.com. It's also my handle here, but feel free. I'm on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I would love to chat with all of you. And obviously you'll get a lot more information tomorrow when that site goes live.
Yay! Any final thoughts you want to share before we hop off?
I don't think so. Thank you so much, Em.
Thank you, Lise. You're amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited to see all of the incredible stuff you're doing in the world. And like for anybody who's listening, this is such an example of someone truly stepping into her purpose and just really being able to build something with confidence, right? And it's like, who knows where this is going to end up, right? But you're in this place now where you have this internal guide that is your intuition, that is your purpose, that is all of this stuff that you have, of course, learned in Path to Purpose, but really from life, right? Like you integrated this stuff, you've practiced this stuff. And this is the result, right? Like this is what's possible when we give ourselves that space and time to really figure out what our dreams are and then go after them.
Exactly.
Okay. Love you, Lise. Thanks everybody who's watching, and happy Thursday.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Em. Love you.